Call on him like Yahweh Shem Shai from Kakadash, all praise and honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. In the name of His only God and Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Spirit Holy, all praise and honor and glory to our power, Yahweh Shem Shai from Kakadash, and giving double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who well. Peace and salutation to elect first fruits, starting with the 144,000 prophets and the rest of the remnant of the 1/3 believers. Alright, whom are all Israelites. Shemi out mouth and some up from the Great Millstone Playing Tables Camp, Philadelphia. Come with another wee lesson just in the spirit. Hey, full spectrum survivor, aka my favorite out of WAM. Alright, let's get it. Fair use warning.
Reports going out right now that there's going to be an immigration raid, a huge one that is going to take place across the United States of America. Now, we recently saw that they were using or importing biological agents through one of our universities. The Chinese were actually having their citizens send over biologically harmful products, things that can wipe out our entire crops. But that's just one of the things that they're going after. There's also a big push to get all of the potential tourists that got into this country in a free and open border out of the country before they act on the orders they were given. So we have a woman right here behind me. She is reportedly a spotter. Now, not only are they putting bounties out on the heads of politicians and on people that are in immigration enforcement, there are citizens who are joining this collective to work against a federalization of enforcement. This is a further divide among the people, and it's something that we have to watch pretty closely. Let's go ahead and see how ICE or how immigration kind of matches up with her actions. So here she's a little bit more brazen, doesn't matter, doesn't mind giving ICE the middle finger. And then you see her running red lights. She is trying to get away because she feels like there might be some repercussions for her actions. Law enforcement and federalization of officials gets involved, gets her cornered over there. Suddenly she starts giving the, oh, I didn't mean to do this, not doing nothing wrong card. But let me tell you something. If you see SWAT, and SWAT is about to go and take a house, say there's gang members in there, and if you start telling the gang members that SWAT's up the street, they're going to put you in jail for the night. And that's really no different than this division among the American populace of who they will have enforce the laws and then who tries to get in between that enforcement.
And what you have here is, and by the way, I don't know what's going on with what he first talked about. You say many could say speculate conspiracy of theory. That's what full spectrum survivor or survival is saying. And I didn't watch the video initially, so I don't know. But speaking about this popsicle force thing. Yeah, you do have certain individuals that are, working to help so-called alleged migrants. Okay, how do you think this all been going on? You have actual entities of organizations that have received funding just to be able to help and assist these different migrants. Okay, so it wouldn't be surprising if there is also those that are spotting for the interest of keeping the migrants here, because as we do know, the migrants being here, which the migrants mainly are Israelites. All right, that's what they targeting. They targeting really, Northern Kingdom Israelites and the Central American, and they attacking really all the tribes, but mainly on those that are from the Caribbean and the Central Americans and such like that. And of course they hit some of the different so-called Negro tribes afterwards. But you have it there, spotters, and this is just control over the narrative. Because he has been given the control of all, of course, the borders, and they know who came in and who goes out. Okay, and as we go into under Biden, which is so-called Democrat, you've had so many have entered into this country. All right. I used to have some information on this, but they say under Biden's watch, and this is off of the House Committee on Budget, there's been over 6.7. Well, you have over 8 million migrants counted nationwide, and 6.7 million of which have been at the southwest border. Worse yet, 1.7 million known got away. All right, illegal immigrants who have evaded border patrol. Okay, so they saying under the House Oversight and Homeland Report. So I think gotaways are a public safety concern, but I believe we discussed earlier, also potential national security concern as well. You have, we don't know what these people are up to, and as you know, with the Nero 47, all right, Donald J. Trump, he declared war on the cartels and such. All right, making them tease. Okay, and you have the Department of War, so we got a war on the tribes, man. It's heavy going on, in which we know what time it is. Okay, we're in the time of Jacob trouble and such. So things are only going to continue to get worse and worse, and there's going to be more and more of a pursuit and harassing of the tribes. All right. This is Jeremiah chapter 30:7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so none is like it. It is even the time of Yaquab Tazarah, or Jacob trouble." All right. Which Jacob is Israel. His name was changed. Which, of course, Jacob, Israel, have the birth to what? The 12 tribes. Okay. Which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans. All right. And there's a time that's going to be none like any other. And we're in the beginning of sorrows of them times. All right. Where you got popsicle force popping out. And there's, like you say, like a huge big so-called, as they go into a raid when the tribes playing. And these raids be going on all the time. Okay, it's not really in the news. You got to see if it's over on alternative media online and such. Okay. So, but it says, but he shall be saved out of it. The elect is going to be saved out of, of course, this these destructions. Okay. These perils, though they be in the midst of it, there'll be deliverance. All right. Such, even if you are slated for to be a martyr, a witness for Yahweh Shemashai by dying for this word. Your works are following you. All right, but the Lord have it that He requiring the elect. All right, from that number, and 2/3 is gonna be cut off here and die here in Babylon the Great. So this great big pursuit towards Jake, all right, of the tribes. Like I said, it's all biblical and it's all prophecy, and that's what we deal with here at Great Millstone. We give you the warning, just as that woman was telling about how, you know, the enemy is on his way. Well, we tell you the same, all right, as watchmen, okay, as prophets. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 70. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord," the Israelites, okay, who, you know, of course, have a zeal towards the power. Many of them is not according to knowledge, okay, but you have it. It's gonna be a great insurrection, you know, upon those that fear the Lord, Israelites, and we're seeing the beginning of that. Some very terrible stories of people being ripped from baggage claims, you know, in the airport, claimed to be, you know, not justified to be in the country, and, you know, people at their jobs, people, you know, at their apartments, all type of stuff, housing. Okay, you got some very crazy stuff going on, you know, and people being taken by people whom they don't even know if that person is actually a sworn member of the particular entities in which they have been using the authority to go and get these particular people, migrants, as they're saying. All right. So yeah.
This was probably one of the most shocking videos that I've seen in the last couple of days. This is a very clear, and you really have to watch this, a very clear explanation. This is an American doctor, been a doctor 40 years, explaining how the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as it is commonly known, really was just meant to get insurance companies rich.
Right, which, I mean, with all of this, like, what was the purpose of the Affordable Care Act? What was the purpose of the Care Act? And that, right? Make affordable health insurance to more people, right? Expand the Medicaid program to cover all adults with income below 138% of the federal poverty line, I believe that will be. All right, you can read that off of HH. What's that? Health and Human Services, U.S. Department. All right, and like I said, it has made these different insurance companies rich. Like I say, mission critical activities of the HHS will continue during the Democrat-led government shutdown. Please use this site as a resource as Trump administration works to reopen the government for the American people. All right. But, you know, you have it where did what president made health insurance mandatory? And I believe that was let me see. Our penalties. what president? Hold up, let me see something. Did, yes, under the Affordable Health Care Act or Affordable Care Act, signed into law in 2010, included an individual mandate that required people to have minimum essential health insurance coverage or pay a tax penalty. Okay? And since that makes the insurance companies get paid. Okay? Because you have to get some type of this insurance. Okay? The purpose, the mandate was designed to ensure a balanced insurance market by encouraging healthy individuals to enroll, which help offset the costs associated with covered people with pre-existing conditions. Okay? The penalty was typically calculated as greater of two amounts: flat dollar amount per person or a percentage of household income above tax filing threshold. For example, in 2016, the penalty could be $695 per adult or 2.5% of income, whichever is higher. All right? And when you go file your taxes, they go and ask you, hey, do you have health insurance? Did you have it for the whole year? You know? You got somebody even has it here off of National Institute of Health under the ACA. There is a $750 annual fine for uninsured people who do not purchase health insurance. All right, so this is under the, of course, the coercion of these different bills, these unrighteous decrees that making it where you have to get and pay into the system. All right, which Isaiah, the 10th chapter, tell you, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and right grievousness which they have prescribed. All right, pre-written. All right, and everybody talk about how he was such a great president, but he's cost you more and more money. Okay, requiring you to have this stuff. All right, go on. To turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right of the poor of my people, that the widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay? We definitely are being bazaars. We're being plundered. They're taking all that money. Okay? Goodness gracious. So,
our health insurance costs go up every year. Can we get 1 year where it's steady, or God forbid they go down? And the reason for that is it was designed that way. There's something called, in the Affordable Care Act, called the medical loss ratio. The medical loss ratio means that insurance companies must spend between 80 to 85% of all premium dollars on medical services. That means they're limited to...
Now let you get to that point first. If the insurance company is forced under law to spend 80 to 85% of every bit of money, every dollar they take in, what would you do? If you own that company, what would you do? You would spend more money. So if you only have a window of 20% to make your money, now what do? You work with hospitals, you work with the industry, you jack up prices because your 20% of $10 is $2. But your 20% of $1,000 is $200. Now you get up into the billions and they're really making money.
15 to 20% for...
That's a lesson on its own. All right? Lord will, I do a lesson on its own, man. I just call this a various topics, man. But the pressure is on, man. And at the same time, like, people, You know, everything is being restructured and such. Okay? And you have it where the tribes are at, of course, the hands of the suffering of the Gawayim, the heathen. All right? Starting with Ishashua, which had the control of the earth. All right? Adawam. All right? The rogue man. All right?
Administrative overhead and profit. So that means that they play a little game. The higher the top line is, the bigger that number is. So now all we did was say, let's charge more each year. If you look each year, the insurance companies' revenues go up every year. The second thing they did to get around that was they started vertically integrating. What's vertical integration? That's when you start buying companies that are not insurance companies, but in similar businesses. So they started buying pharmacy benefit managers, which are middlemen for the drug companies.
You can just start to see a little bit of.
Yeah, and then them dudes, what is it? They get a bite back, you know, from pushing out them certain drugs from them certain companies, you know. And it's just a one big racket. So, you know, we know what it is, man. Like in the second chapter, it tells you, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. In the morning it is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And you have it to elite, you know, do this. All right? And you have different lobbyists and, you know, different individuals that push towards making and influencing these big changes that get people, and of course the private sector, money. Okay? Because as we do know, this is a sick country, okay? A very sick place. And, hey, the big pharma, as they would say, is a big money maker for E. All right? And they covet fields and take them by violence, and the houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house and a man in his heritage. All right? So, you know, I'm going to leave it at that for now. Hey, we'll get more into this at another time, but shalom to the elect.